Welcome back everyone, hope you're all doing well today. This is going to be part 2 in our new first person shooter tutorial series. In the first part we actually set up our arms using Make Human and Blender, so we actually have our arms here with our bones all ready to go. So what we're going to do today is actually set these arms up for animation. So we've got quite a bit to do, so we'll just go ahead and get straight into it. So first of all, what I'd recommend is make sure you actually go ahead and save. Keep saving different copies as you go along, just in case you make a mistake, and then you won't have to start again. You can just go back to the previous save that you had. Also, keep in mind that Control Z will actually undo any changes you make, so you can keep Control Zing if you make a mistake and get back to the point where you were before the mistake was made. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and I'll set up my... I actually downloaded the new version of Blender, so it doesn't look like I have my screencast keys anymore, so just give me a second. I've got to remember where I actually put them. I think it was in here. Screencast keys. So this is how you add different add-ons and plugins to Blender as we did in the first one as well. So I'm just going to enable my screencast keys. I'll just click down here to save these preferences, and now we have our screencast keys. So I'll click, oops, that, show last operator, and we should be good to go. There we go. Alright, so first of all I'm going to actually go up here to toggle X-ray. I'm going to turn that off because we had that left on from last time. And what we're going to do is actually go ahead and set up some IK on our arm as a first thing. So if you don't know what IK is, it's Inverse Kinematics, so it'll actually allow us to control the entire arm using a handle that we're going to make. So instead of trying to explain it, I'll just go ahead and actually show you. So if you click on the actual rig, the actual bones in object mode, then press tab to go into edit mode, and then what we need to do is scroll in here and find this little end bit of the bone just on the wrist here. So it's actually a bit tricky to click on these in the stick bone mode, so what I'm going to do actually is switch over so it's easier to actually see. So what you can do is go down here, where is it, this one here, go to object data properties down here, this little man, go to viewport display, and you'll see that it says display as stick. I'm going to change this to octathedral, and now you'll see these are the more standard bones that you usually see in rigs, and this is just going to make it easier for us to select the bones and the ends of bones. So I'm going to go back to edit mode. If I press 3 on my numpad, just press 3 like that, and then you'll see that you can actually go into orthographic mode and actually have the side on view like this. So I'm just going to click in empty space here to make sure I haven't double selected anything, and then I'm going to click on the end of this bone here, his forearm bone. Okay, I think I've double clicked, so I might have an actual copy, but we'll see. So click on that one and then press 9 on your numpad to flick to the other side. Hold down shift and then select this side. And then if we press 1 on the numpad, we'll go back to the actual front view. So looking at the front view like this, press E on your keyboard and then press Z. So we're going to extrude only on the Z axis, which is straight up. So then if we pull our mouse up, you can see that we extrude these bones straight up in the air like this. Then left click, and now I'll select this one on the right hand side, just the top of it, and then if we press R on the keyboard, we can select rotate and just pull it down here so it's sort of facing like that. And then we can do the same on the other side, select the top, press R and just pull it down. As you can see, I did duplicate a bone, that's what I was trying to avoid, but I'll just select this one and I'll just delete that one. Okay, so make sure we've only got one of each of these bones. now I'm going to select this one on his left arm, and if we go to the actual bone properties down here, you'll see that it's got a name. So I'm just going to rename this one to IK underscore handle underscore arm underscore left. Okay, and then this one, IK handle underscore arm underscore right. Okay, so I'll rename them so it's easy to actually find them later on. So I'm just going to click off, left click and make sure I'm not selected on anything. We're in edit mode, make sure you're in edit mode. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually select this bone here, which is the wrist left, and then I'm going to hold down shift, and then I'm going to select this new IK handle we made. So both them selected, and then I'm going to press Control P, and I'm going to select keep offset. Okay, and then I'm going to go back around to this one, do the same, select the right wrist this time, hold down shift and select the IK handle right, and then Control P, and then keep offset. Okay, so now what we're going to do is actually select the IK handle itself. I'm going to press Alt P this time, and I'm going to actually clear the parent, and then on this side as well, Alt P, clear that parent as well. And then what we're going to do now is actually set up the IK. So if I just select this bone here, the IK handle arm left, and then I hold down shift and select the lower arm to left. If I hold down Control Shift and then press C, whoops, sorry, we're in edit mode. Of course, that's not going to work. Press Tab. Actually, that's not going to work. Go up here. Make sure we're in pose mode first. I'll just do this again. So make sure you're in pose mode. Select the IK handle. Then hold down Shift and select the forearm, and then Control Shift C. And then you'll bring up this menu here. This is the Add Constraints. And then we've got this one, Inverse Kinematics. If you just click on that one, you'll see now that it automatically draws this dotted yellow line all the way to the top of our collarbone up here. So now if we actually click on this handle and then press G for grab, you can see that we can actually move the whole arm like that just by moving that handle, which is really handy, sorry, and it makes the actual arm a lot easier to animate. Okay, so if you just right click, it'll automatically reset it back to where it was. So now we need to do the same for the other side. So make sure in pose mode, left click on the actual IK handle, hold down shift and then select the forearm bone or the lower arm bone, and then shift Control C and select Inverse Kinematics. And then if we just select the handle and press G for grab, we can also do the same with this one here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is just quickly set up a pole target for our elbows. So what we're going to do, if I press 3 on my numpad and then I select the elbow, first of all go into edit mode by pressing tab, and then select the ball here on the elbow, and then if I press 9 on my numpad it will take me to the other side. Hold down shift and select this one as well. Just going to zoom out a little bit here, and I'll press 3 so we're back straight again. And if we press E and then Y, we can pull out this bone like so. I'll just make sure that we've got both of these. Okay, so now we need to select this bone here and Control P, actually make that Alt P, and then clear parent, and then select this one and do the same. So Alt P and clear parent. I'm just going to actually select that one, hold down shift and select this one. So they're both selected. I'm going to press 3 on my numpad. I'm going to press G, and then I'm going to press Y, and I'm just going to pull these away from the body back here. Okay, so you got that done, and now we just need to rename these bones. So I'll select this one. This is actually his right arm, so I'll just make sure you select the bone down here, and then you can rename it, and I'll call it pole underscore target underscore elbow underscore right. And this one here can be pole underscore target underscore elbow underscore left. Okay, so we've got the left one, and then we've got the right one. So now what we can do is select the forearm, the actual IK bone that we set up before. If you go down here, first of all, make sure you press tab to go back into pose mode. Make sure in pose mode up here, and then you'll have this option, the bone constraints. If you click on that while the forearm is selected, you'll see that now we have the bone constraint IK set up. So what we're going to do now is set up the pole target. So if I click on this here, I'll just select the make human male rigged, and then if we select the bone, I'll just type in pole, and then we can see there's our pole target left, and you'll notice his arm goes a bit silly like that. So all we have to do is go to the pole angle here and just set that one to -90, and then it clicks back into place like that. Okay, so now we'll do the same for the other side. Select the right forearm, click down on the constraints, and you'll see that's where the IK is set up for this arm. For the pole target, we'll select the make human rigged again, and then type in pole, and this one is actually the right one, and then set the pole angle to -90, and it clicks back into place like that. Okay, so the reason why we've put them pole targets behind his elbows is it just makes it a little bit easier to adjust his actual elbows. So if I was to select this handle here in pose mode and press G, and say I wanted to move his arm up like that for, you know, holding a gun or something like that, like say we moved it like that, and then we pressed R and just rotated his hand up so it's not all kinked up like that. Anyway, just say we were posing like that, then we could click this bone here and actually press G to grab and on the X axis, and we could actually pull his elbow in like that. Okay, so it's just going to make our life a lot easier in the long run. Yeah, so just say we wanted to have him holding a gun. Like so. Okay, so it's just going to make it easy to animate because we have got quite a few bones in these arms, and yeah, the more we can save time, the actual better. So if you've moved your rig around like that, you can easily put it back to where you started by just pressing A to select all the bones while in pose mode. If you press Alt G, that will actually reset the position, and then Alt R will reset the rotation. So we're back to exactly where we started. Okay, so now we're just going to set up some constraints on the fingers. We're going to probably take these constraints off, or set the actual influence of these constraints to 0 when we start posing to hold a gun or something, but these are going to be very handy, especially when we're just doing our bare hands animations for when the player doesn't actually have a weapon. So we'll start off on the left arm, and if I just select this finger bone here, and then I actually hold down shift and select the tip of the thumb there as well. If I press Control Shift C, I can actually select this copy rotation. So if I select copy rotation, you'll see that automatically it adds the copy rotation to it here, and the tip of the thumb is green. Okay, so you select the bone that you want to manipulate first, and then you select the bone that you want to be influenced by the bone you manipulate. So you select that one and then the top one. So now we can actually select this here, the actual tip of the thumb, and you'll see that it's set to world space. So actually set that to local space. And what we're going to do is also select the bones on his thumb and press N and then go to item, and I'm just going to, for now, I'm just going to lock the rotation, okay? So lock the rotation on the Y and Z, so we can only rotate this thumb on the Z axis until we unlock these. So just keep that in mind, and then I'm going to do the same for the next one, lock it on the Y and Z, and then I'm going to do it for the very end. So now if I select this bone here and I press rotate, you'll see that automatically the tip of the thumb rotates with that, okay? So that's pretty cool. We could have actually done it from this bone here, but you can only, keep in mind, you can only do 2 bones at a time. So you'll see for the finger here, so if I want to have this bone and this bone, copy the rotation of this bone, I select this bone first, and then I hold down shift and select this bone, and I go shift control C, copy rotation, and then I would select the middle one and then shift and select the very tip, and then control shift C, copy rotation. Okay, so now I'm going to select this one and I'm going to lock the rotation on Y and Z, do the same for this one, and the same for this one. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all of mine now. I'll just show you this. Make sure that you actually set the space to local space. Okay, this is really important. And the tip here. So if it's not working properly, just double check that you've done it right and make sure you have it in local space. So now if I actually select this finger here and press R to rotate, you'll see that I can actually bend his finger. It doesn't go in any direction, it only rotates on the X axis for now, okay? So that's going to make it easy to animate our hands. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to do this, okay? So I'll lock them, I'll select this one and this one, copy the rotation, make sure we set this to local space, then select the middle one and the end one, control shift C, copy rotation, make sure we set it to local space. So after you do each one, just go ahead and just test it, make sure it actually works. Just going to lock all of these. Make sure I set this to local. And then I'm going to select the middle one and the M one. Make sure I set that to local. So you'll see here, if you select one of the fingers that's going to be influenced, one of the bones that's going to be influenced, you have this influence level here. So just say we don't want to use these constraints, you can just click this X. So now this middle finger won't be using the rotation constraint. If I do the same for the M1 here and I click the X and make it 0, now if I rotate this, you'll see now that they don't bend, okay? So if you need to turn them off for some reason when you're posing, that's how you do it. So I'll select this one again and select it back to 1. The value is just between 0 and 1. So I'll select that one back to 1 as well. And I'm just going to quickly lock all of these on the X and Y rotation. So this is pretty time consuming. You can't actually select more than one at once. So you've actually just got to do it like this, as far as I know. So this is the price you pay to make your own FPS hands. Alright, so that hand's done. I'm just quickly going to double check that these are working. That one's working fine. His little pinky finger, that one's working fine. So we do have all these extra bones on his hand. I probably should have just selected the game engine hands, like they would have had, you know, enough bones for us for sure. So you can actually use the game engine hands from Make Human if you want. I wish I had done that now. We might actually swap to that at some stage, I don't know, because all these bones, I mean, it's handy to have more bones, but we're probably not going to actually need them. So anyway, we'll see how we go with all of these bones. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and first of all I'm just going to lock all of them first. Actually, I'm not going to worry about locking that one. Just going to lock the ones that are actually going to be no, I'll lock all of them. So I'll lock that one. That one's done. Lock that one. So if you wanted to rotate your fingers like up and down like that, or on the on the wire X angle, you're going to have to actually turn these locks off, which isn't an issue. It's just going to make it a hell of a lot easier for doing basic hand animations without our fingers getting twisted into all kinds of weird positions and rotations, I should say. Okay, so I've locked all mine. I'm going to start on the thumb again, select the middle one, hold down shift and select the M1, control shift C, copy the rotation, make sure I set the space to local space. Going to select this one and this one, and copy the rotation. And do the same for these two. Copy rotation, local space. Okay, make sure you check them as I said as you go along so you haven't made any mistakes. Okay, and that one doesn't seem to be working. Let's have a look. Aha. Local space, local space. Oh, of course, because I only did that one from this angle. So I haven't actually got this middle bone to copy the this bone's rotation. So I can only rotate it from this middle bone on the thumb, which is fine for now. We can always change it and make it so the whole thing rotates. So that one's working fine. This one's working fine. And keep in mind, when you're using Blender, the way things rotate and get moved around in world space, it depends on your actual, like how you're viewing the object. So it's a bit different than Unity in that regard. So you've just got to keep that in mind. So yeah, you try to give yourself a good actual view for each thing you want to rotate. That's done, so let's do these two. Local space, local space. Check this one works. Okay, beautiful. These two. Local space, and these two. Nearly finished. Local space, just double check this one works. Yep. These two. And finally, last one, set it to local space. So now we'll just double check this pinky works fine. Yep. Beautiful. Okay guys, so now we have our arms fully rigged and set up with constraints, rotation constraints. They have inverse kinematics, and we also have pole targets all set up ready to go for animation. Alright, hope you guys liked the video. Please make sure you hit the like button so that we can actually get more people to see these videos, and remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Cheers.